let's take a look and focus a little what's going on over here. Of course, the most important thing that we're watching is this big technical breakout we've had to the upside. We're on a big buy impulse over here, and it appears that this is fun. What we're going to look at today is fun. It appeared to me that we might have been entering the first pullback of this wave. That's still debatable. I'm going to show you why, and I'm going to show you where with the greatest clarity that pullback will be starting. And most importantly, we're watching over here. We're watching for when this buy impulse ends. This would be a big technical breakdown to the downside. That's completely in play, by the way. And we're going to give a little bit of a better picture of that in a second. I want to talk about a couple of things where we left off yesterday before I go even forward onto that dual chart. So this highlighted blue line was so important yesterday, last night. So I want you to have that imprinted on your mind. And before I talk about that blue chart, remember yesterday when Peter was talking about this trend line, the Clone West trend line that we moved up over here, and then we placed it in. We said, oh, we got nice resistance at 46,500. And the thing about the clone trend lines, because you could just keep going all the way up, boom, and like depending on what time frame I'm in, how many are going to come in, I could go all the way up. And the whole way through, the market will be like playing off that structure. It gets really confusing. Let me show you what I mean though. If you just go ahead, and I'm going to go down to that top touch over here that we just came into, right? Let me line it up into that touch. And then if you work your way backwards, you're like, oh, well, here that was perfect support. Oh, here that was perfect resistance. Oh, here that was perfect resistance. Oh, here that was perfect resistance. So that it shows the market structure is exactly as we have it. That's the hard part, is knowing, well, should it be here or should it be here? And it's because it's both, right? And throughout, but you could see from a different vantage point that actually we did stop into that resistance. But the more important piece than that, I don't know that I want to get rid of that. Let me just make it lighter. The more important piece than that is that just shows the importance of this line we have down over here. I think that highlights what a critical level that is. And if we do get a sell impulse, right? This line over here is this line over here. If we do get a sell impulse, that has, the potential to bring this down into a retest. It would be the break of that line that would set up a potential down waterfall. There's a lot of tension out there. You could see it was Jesse and everyone was discussing it last night. I can't see how much follow through there could be if price drops below 28,000, or how sustainable, for how long. Yeah, no one has the answer to that. And more importantly, no one has the answer to, we're going to look, I have to go into it. I want to get into like the TA, into like the intricate TA, because it was so interesting. But let's go where we're going. No one literally knows what's going to happen. But let me make sure that we have our like greater thesis outlined of what our expectations are. Everyone is super clear about the uncertainty. The macro right over here is warranting like us to be cautious. All right, let me jump back over. I want to talk first about the bigger picture, then I'm going to come in really intricate. Unless you guys want to go intricate first, you tell me. All right, let's jump in. Let me come into I'm going to slide over here. Remember this line over here. It's so important, this blue line, okay? This is the line that we're all very familiar with because we all do this work together each and every day. I want to show you what happened last night. So I'm watching last night when we left over here in CTM, we were watching, the reversal on the CPI, right? And we talked about above that line, that was that signal that you want to be going long. So after we left off, I'm watching this and was able to participate in this breakdown. After price broke down right over here is where I joined the party. We came down, and on CTM here together, this yellow trend line, I drew in and I left it up here. I don't really think the market's paying too much attention to it, right? You all remember that trend line that I drew before leaving? You could see it over here on the white as well. I drew that in there. Price came into it and dropped through it onto that blue line. Now that blue line is that long blue line over here. And, I didn't take profits over here. And probably, I was looking at a chart actually like this. And I'm looking at just that line over. I didn't realize the significance of that support it was. Nevertheless, I didn't take profits off of it. Price jumps up. And then I was able to first follow me here. I know this is outside the box and different, but I want you to follow me. One more second. So first I have, that trade is continuing to fall, I have this trend line over here looking and waiting for a reversal. Price comes into that support and never broke it to the upside, and then comes in and puts in this lower low over here. And then price starts, because right now I'm really watching this closely. Price starts this other blue line over here, and that's what I use over here to actually go to the other side and flip and exit that trade. Now, what's really interesting is because I believe that trend line over there that held overnight, I'm going to get rid of this yellow one over here. This trend line that held overnight, this blue one over here, because it did hold that support yesterday. You talked about, or Jesse's talking about, that nice bull flag that's developing right now. Looks like we're breaking down out of it right now, right? And there's the 2 hour bear flag that's developing, and the follow through will be, and when I say follow through, if price breaks below this trend line over here, at that point, I think what we're looking at is, and we saw the beginning of it up here. This is what we were looking at yesterday, but a break of this trend line over here, this blue one from last night, out of this bear flag, that would confirm to me that we have begun a correction. I don't know what that correction how long that correction lasts. Is that a correction that could take us into, all the way down into the support in that hold? Could that be something like, I guess that's like a 10% correction. The wick is up here, 10 to 12% correction. It's entirely possible. Putting the pieces together day by day, you're able to see a lot closer how this works. There's no question the line that we left off with was like a clear beginning of, but we're looking for some confirmation over here, especially after the market's reaction yesterday to the CPI, and then like Bitcoin actually trading up on that. We're seeing strong indications of pretty solid support being gained on Bitcoin. So you don't want to be like aggressive to the downside. Nevertheless, if this is, so this could be like a place right now someone might want to, right, if it take profits, a break of that blue line over here. If they're take the trade over here from whether it was the double black diamond or the conservative entry, and they want to just wait again until we resume out of there. At the same time, you could see last night as we broke below that trend line I just removed, going in out of the live stream, I had this trend line over here for us. And as price broke below it, that's exactly where the true trend went negative. Now, there was no follow through on that. And there was no follow through because we see that price came into that long-term support line, an important one, and it held. So that's bullish. The confirmation after that hold last night is going to be a break of that, right? Further follow through. So going back over here, price was able to come back above it. Do I think like because the true trend went negative over here that you should be lining up along? I don't think so. I sincerely don't think so yet. So if we're able to, or if price is able to actually correct further down and hold closer to that support, whether or not it gets all the way into that support or not, or how far back the correction goes, that I don't know. But, going forward a little bit, we might have the opportunity then to go ahead and watch. I don't know what it looks like just yet, but wait and watch for a buy impulse. But right now, first, we're looking here for, before even thinking about the upside, some further correction to the downside before it would warrant going ahead and taking position. And then also at the same time, I think that if anyone is looking for a level to lock gains in off that first buy impulse, that we have that clear test last night. So a break below here would signal, all right, might be a good place to get aside, and then wait for whenever that, right now it would look something like this. That's variable, and that could change depending on if we break down or we come up further, because price, right, take that away 1 second. If price, it broke down out of this bear flag, but that's not like any follow through yet. And if price like comes down, holds the support, comes back up over here, and then like the angle that we're looking at for a buy impulse will be different. But like the best you could do right now, or if you exit a position, make sure that once upon exiting that position, make sure you have the buy impulse in place. Appreciate that. I just want to make sure that it comes across as very clear as possible, what's going on. And before we even move forward, I want to make sure everyone understands going. This is the 5-minute time frame, but you could see the clarity it offers. All right, and I know it's a very short time frame. Salamander, you gotta write a book about understanding Fed speak. But that's what it looks like to me. But there's masterful games being played right now, and I really feel like a large portion of what happens behind the Federal Reserve is like understanding psychology, and I think that they are obviously masterful at like manipulating. And I think what they're doing right now is using one of their greatest tools available, and that is working hard using verbal intervention and like hand tricks in order to get everyone is guessing as much as possible, and it's working, and there's no question about it. And at the same time, that new variable was released. I mean, they're so good. Now they have like the market worried about some type of like emergency rate hike, and it could happen. And that means that like, people can't like all of a sudden get too long on risk on, because they have that worry in the background. So whether it's that or whether it's the Super Bowl or whatever it is, like our edge is following what price is doing and making sure we're aware of all critical breaks. And I'm not just talking about big breaks up out. This is obviously a big sell impulse after a big buy impulse, but the little ones in between. And that's why here this morning, good call, Jesse, by the way, on that bear flag breaking down over here. And I don't know if that's the best drawing either, right? Because you could just go like down to there would be better, but it's still breaking down out of it. And then this trend line over here, I think that is a confirmation that we would be looking for a further leg down. And by the way, we do have below that support over there, right around 41,000. So the next thing that I wanted to look at, it seemed to me after last night's behavior, right, that, oh, well, I don't need to be looking at the log. The linear is showing with that nice, beautiful touch of the support that's the line. And it's hard because then I have to look at this line. Well, I tried my best getting off the touches, the support over there. But, I mean, is that right? Here you got just wicks below, closing below, then you got a touch there. So, I mean, is that one also not? I don't know, and so I have them both up still, right? And not only do I have them both up, I'm going from down over here, and I am just readjusting it there, just trying to find with the greatest authenticity of what the market's paying attention to when, so that I could be as dialed in as possible. And so I think they both continue to offer, let's say, some type of important signal. And that's what we're following. By the way, that 41, that white line over here, that yellow line over there, this is off a log, by the way. It's for everyone. We got some pretty strong support coming in that area. So we'll be watching it. A breakdown below there, though, a breakdown below this area of support, in my opinion, that's a place that people want to be aware of. It doesn't mean, similar to this is also important. This green line, everyone remembers, we had the breakout of it. And this was a conservative line at the time. This wasn't the black diamond entry. And this one broke out and then was faded. And then this one was added afterwards, right? And then that held out through it. I mean, look, this is why I'm saying you right now, similar exactly as everyone remembers before the breakout, when we were in this area. And I was like, you just got to stay on that right side because a big move is coming and you don't know which way it's going to be. A breakdown over here is the same thing. You got to be on the right side of it. And then if it's faded, you got to get right back on the right side to the upside. There is nothing easy about this. This is a trader market. And that's why I say 2022 is the most important year right now. So I just want to make sure everyone got this again last night, what was going on over here and watching, lining up off these touches over here. When price broke down over here, that was showing a big sell impulse again taking place. And then how that trade was nurtured, adding this line over here, right? Looking for that exit, right? And then price, continuing to hold until the very end. Look when this changed. I could have just continued drawing this line out like this, right? And that also provided a perfect exit as well, no question about it. But at the same time, as price started hugging this line over here, right? That's what I adjusted to. And there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of alpha in that. I think I used to really promote in the, back when CTM was in its early stages, I used to really promote because we were much more FX oriented, people working hard on using paper trading. And I was always the biggest promoter of not using a live account, but using a paper account until you're profitable, and then moving over to a live account because you understand how to manage your risk and proper position sizing. But I've definitely wavered from that, riding that big move up in Bitcoin and just focusing on the repairs. And I think that it would be an excellent opportunity going forward for people working on putting into action what we're doing over here and doing that and starting doing that paper trading right through TradingView. I think that would be very good.